In this video, we are going to look at how to change the slides or images of the slideshow. There are a few steps to follow. The first two, we'll talk about that quickly before we carry on. Well, obviously, you need to sign in to the maintenance end of the website. But before we do that, I just want to talk about aspect ratio. Every image has got a ratio of width in relation to height. Now I found that if the aspect ratio is 3:2, that's very good. It works very well. Now if you think about 3:2, image sizes of 800 pixels wide by 530 pixels high is the perfect aspect ratio for the image and for the slideshow. So is 640 by 425, and so is 1000 by 660 pixels. Now all these images, if they're in landscape, then they will fit very well with the slideshow. It is not a hard and fast rule. There's a bit of flexibility in this. It'll also look okay if your images are 800 by 600, or if they are 640 by 480, or if they are 1024 by 768. The point here is that you need to try to be consistent in your image sizes for the slideshow. Then it'll look okay. But we'll look at that a little later. So let us sign into the website. You put in your username and your password, and you would be signed into the website. As you can see, I am signed in. Here we have the slideshow. You will see that the slideshow and the aspect ratio for this is very well set out because the images are a correct width. But now you've got an example of a portrait image, and this is the difficulty that you have with a slideshow. If you mix portrait and landscape images, then you will get that. But if it is something that you do want, then there's no problem with that. So let us go ahead and have a look at the next step. To load the images in the slideshow folder, and for this we use the Media Manager. So let us go to that first. If I go to the Media Manager, I'm going to add a folder and I'll call that slideshow. Click on the plus and that will give me a folder in which I can put the images. The reason I use folders is so that I know exactly where to go to change the images and to maintain the content of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a few files and put it in there just to show you what it is that we are going to do. Right, I'm going to take that one and put it in. I'm also going to see if I can find a few more. You can see this is a folder on my PC. There's a few images. If you look at the pop-up that came for this image, you will see that the dimensions is 800 by 600. So that would be a good image to add. Let me find more. That is 1600 by 1200. So we'll see what will happen. It's a completely different size. So I will add that image. Then I'll take one more. That is 650 by 482. So what we have, for instance, here is three very different image sizes that we're going to use. So let's just leave that at that for the moment. Back to our slideshow. Here is our slideshow again. Next step that we want to do is we want to enter into the slideshow editor, which is a very simple thing to do. You will see that if in your slideshow there is a little icon that pops up when you signed in and you hover over the image. If we click on it, which I just did, you will enter into the slideshow editor. It still shows you the slideshow on the top, you can see that it gives you the opportunity to save and close, or cancel any changes that you make. But when you click on that editor mode, that editor button, you will find all the configuration settings for the slideshow. Now, the only thing that we are concerned about really is the slides manager. Ignore everything else. Next step, I've already told you that yes, please ignore all other settings and navigate to the slides manager. The next topic we're going to talk about is how to delete a slide. How do we do it? We go into the slides manager, and you will then notice that all the different slides has popped up. They are numbered from 0, 1, 2, 3. These are the 4 slides that you currently see on the website. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to delete a slide. Now I'm just going to go through it very quickly. I'll just use this as an example. That button there deletes the slide. So if I click on that, it deletes it completely. When you do that, a message pops up that says remove the slide. You say OK, and as you can see, the slide is gone. If we now go back to the top, I'm just scrolling with my mouse scroll wheel, and save and close our changes, you will notice, and we'll give it a little time to cycle through the images. There's our first image, here's our second image, and here's the third image, and the fourth image that used to be there is now not there anymore. So this should go back to the first image. And there we are back at our first image. You will see that you will get whenever you do a save, you will get a message to tell you that the module is saved. The next step is, right, so now that we've deleted a slide that we don't want, how do we add a different slide? We click back on the edit button, we go into the edit mode, we go to our slides manager, and we add a slide. Very simple to add a slide. You've got a button on the top to add a slide, you've got a button on the bottom to add a slide. So if you click on the top, add a slide, or you click at the bottom, the slide will always be the last one in the sequence. So there it is. There's no image selected yet. So what we need to do is we need to select an image. This will take you into the server where you loaded the images. What you need to do is you need to find the folder in which the image appears. You will remember that we created a folder called slideshow. So if we click on that, here are the 3 images that we added onto the server, which we want to add into the slideshow. Right, so let's decide we want to add the swans. So we click on the swans to pick it. You can see the tick there, and you click on insert, and it inserted the little thumbnail image there telling you where this image is to be found. Images, slideshow, and swans. You can put in a title and you can put in a description for this image. So let's just go ahead and put in a title, the swans, and any description. I'm just saying these are swans facing each other. So, and that is all we have to do to add the image. If we go back to the top, we scroll back up to the top and we click on save and close. Let's see what happened. You can see again we received the message that it's saved, and this will cycle through all the images. That was the first, and this is the second, and the third image, and the image of the swans with the inscriptions that we've given it, and then cycle back to the first image. The next order of business would be how to change the caption and the description. There's not much to say about that. That's very simple. We've already covered how to save the changes. We've done it twice already. So that is very simple. But there are a few extra things. I'm just going back into the editor mode that we could talk about. Now, obviously, just to talk about the save first, if you use that button to save, you do not really go directly out of the editing. I'm clicking on it now to see what happens. And as you can see, you are still, it's saved, but you are still in the editing mode. So if I click on the home button again, then you notice that you exit the editing mode. If I click on it again, going back in, for that reason, it's not really worth using the save button. Save and close is a much neater end of your work. Of course, if you go in with the intention to change anything and you don't want to take the chance of saving whatever you are not aware of that ought to be saved, then you can use the cancel button. But the important thing is to go out of the editing screen here is you have to either use save and close or use cancel. If you don't, you may log yourself out of editing this module again in the future. Okay, so let's just talk about a few more things. To reiterate, only use the slides manager. We know that deletes this slide. That adds a new slide, but you will notice something else here. There is this button there. If I click on that, hold my mouse button in and drag, I can reorder my slides in a different order. The one that was number 1 before has now become number 3. So you can reorder all your slides at any one point in time if you want to run down a specific sequence. If you don't want to delete a slide, but you don't want to show the slide on the system, you can temporarily click on that button there and it will switch off. Other than that, there's not much else you can do. Apart from changing the title, you can change it anytime, and changing the description. That is basically everything that I wanted to say about this. It's a fairly simple process to maintain your slideshow, deleting images, adding new images, switching some images off temporarily, or reordering your images, changing the titles and the descriptions of it. So if I save and close this now and wait for the slideshow to cycle through, we should find that the image of the bird in portrait mode is now gone. And you will notice that the sequence has changed. And I think there we are back to slide number 1. That is now slide number 2. And as you can see, the other image that we switched off is now not there anymore. That concludes this video. The only other thing that we need to do is never forget to sign out of the website once you are finished with the maintenance of the website. And all you really need to do is you need to scroll down to wherever you logged in and click on log out to log out. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you've learned something, and this should help you in maintaining your slideshow on the website.